Good evening. I'm Kemi Omololu Olunloyo. I'm a Nigerian journalist, pharmacist, PR specialist, as well as an activist. I am an investigative journalist, and I want everybody in Nigeria and the federal government to watch this video. You can take me serious or not. That's your problem. What I'm about to talk to you is very serious. I just watched Major Akinroluyo on Channels News. Major Akinroluyo, if you're watching me, like I said, I'm an investigative journalist. I just watched you talking to the media about the 21 officers in the Nigerian military that were court-martialed. If you don't know the meaning of court-martial, please Google it. Everybody's on the internet. These are soldiers that either deserted their duties or did something wrong administratively. Our soldiers have been fighting Boko Haram for years, 10 years to be specific. The insurgency got to the height of it in 2009. I was in Fox News and CNN, and I spoke about Nigeria being a full-blown terrorist country. That's what we are right now. The insurgency hasn't changed. Our army keeps fighting them. They keep killing our army. Our army too are also killing them. But one thing that you need to pay attention to in Nigeria is something I am suffering. And if they've never told you before, the army are the biggest sufferers of PTSD. PTSD is post-traumatic stress disorder. It's a flashback of traumatic events. The U.S. military guys have a lot of patience with PTSD. Knowing that the U.S. Army goes to every country to be a peacekeeper, to fight a war, Syria, Iraq, Iran, everywhere, Afghanistan, many of those young boys, some of them with young wives and babies at home, go to the battlefront, and many of them are killed. Those that survive come home. Many have post-traumatic stress disorder symptoms. It is not a mental illness. I suffer it. It's a mental disorder. And my suffering came from being in a prison and watching people executed at a police headquarters and so much more, through no fault of my own. But in the military, PTSD is very pronounced. The U.S. government proclaimed 2010 that they should have something called PTSD Awareness Month. In 2014, the U.S. government approved June 27th as PTSD Awareness Day. This past June 27th, I appeared on TVC and I spoke about post-traumatic stress disorder and what I was going through. None of you can ever know. I'm in the middle of a big rape investigation now, coming back to work after 2.5 years, investigating a rape between a young lady, married woman, and a pastor. And what I see people writing is that, oh, your PTSD is gone, huh? Oh, you're not begging for money anymore because some big pastor or somebody's paying you? Stop it. Okay? I'm warning every Nigerian, stop it. Trauma is not a mental illness. Trauma is a human experience. Until a day when a car hits you on the road and you're unconscious and somebody manages to carry your body like a dead dog into an emergency room where you probably die before the doctor can see you, or let's say you survived and they had surgery and your family had to pay $2.5 million, you get home, a year later, full recovery, you'll never want to travel in a car again. That's PTSD. Somebody hit by a car may never want to be inside a car or outside or near a car again. It's a flashback of traumatic events. Don't play around with PTSD. Don't mess around with what I'm suffering. Major Akinroluyo, I am begging you, General Burutai, President Buhari, Senate President Ahmed Lawan, House President Gbajabiamila, everybody in our government, please let us take these young men into consideration. 21 of them being court-martialed. Many of them are suffering PTSD. Many of our military boys are suffering PTSD. What they're going through is worse than what the U.S. Army is going through. They're fighting terrorists every day. I think it's time we do something. I think it's time we send more help, funding to the people. A lot of people in IDP camps are suffering PTSD. But nobody's talking about PTSD in Nigeria. I put a face to it, and it's time that Nigerians do something about it. It's time our government acts, and it's time all of us talk about PTSD. Our military men need to get treated. Please suspend the court-martial. Our Army boys are suffering PTSD. It was something that was pronounced and seen in the military in the United States many years ago. An Army psychiatrist that went to war with those guys in Iraq came back. Dr. Nidal Hassan, Army psychiatrist. An open fire at Fort Hood Barracks. Just Google it. Fort, F-O-R-T, Hood, H-O-O-D, Barracks. Shooting. Dr. Hassan shot 46 people, 13 died. All military soldiers. I came back from war, come to his office, and see him. PTSD took a toll on Hassan as well. They did not kill him, but they shot him to stop all the shooting. Today he's sitting down waiting death penalty, paralyzed, can't walk because of the shooting. PTSD is everybody's problem. Post-traumatic stress disorder is everybody's problem. This October is World Mental Health Day. I'll talk about it again. I'm in PTSD recovery, and one day I want to be a survivor. When it gets dark now at night, I find it very hard to sleep. The thoughts of what I saw come to me. And then I had a violent armed robbery invasion on June 14, which heightened my PTSD. Nobody can knock at that door. I wouldn't let them in until I hear their voice and all sorts. So please be aware. Thank you. Kemi Omalulu Lawyer. At HNN Africa on Twitter, YouTube, Kemi Lawyer TV, Facebook and Instagram, Kemi Lawyer.